When many people think of Florida, they think of places like the Everglades, and they think Florida is just one big swamp with lots of alligators. But today I'm in one of the most beautiful places that we have in the state of Florida. This is in the central part of Florida, Highlands County, halfway between the town of Okeechobee and Sebring, right outside a little town called Loretta. I'm at the Bluff Hammock Trailhead. This is the Boney Marsh and Bluff Hammock area, and this is the portion of the Florida Trail that heads north up to the Avon Park bombing range. This is one of the most beautiful areas in Florida, like I said. And as you can see, right here at the trailhead, there's plenty of beautiful oaks right here where you can park your car before you set out on your hike. Some of these oaks are hundreds and hundreds of years old. Right here at the trailhead, you have two options. You can either go south, and as you look at a map right here, which you might be able to see, you can head south, and that'll take you down through Hickory Hammock all the way back about between 9 and 10 miles until you end up at the Hickory Hammock Trailhead and parking area, which is right off of Route 98 and 700. Or you can head north. And as you can see where I was just standing out there, this is the way we head north for the Bluff Hammock Trailhead. In order to get to the Bluff Hammock Trail and head north up to our Avon Park bombing range, what you need to do, and here's the sign again, you'll see, you want to walk outside the parking lot and you'll come up to the dirt road is Bluff Hammock Road, and then you want to head up toward where you see a sign called Okeechobee Outfitters. And I'll be up there in a second and I'll show you where the actual trail starts. Right now I'm walking up on the trailhead, and you'll see another kiosk here as you come to it, and there's a sign which says Boney Marsh Campground. There's a primitive campground about a mile up. There's also a sign right here in the kiosk which gives you a good idea of the area where you'll be hiking. This trail will run all the way up about 20 miles or so till you hit State Road 60, which is the next major sign of civilization that you're going to see. I've hiked out here many times, and I've never seen another human being out here while I was hiking. So it's really a good place if you want to come and get away. And as you can see, there's some beautiful oaks like I said before, and you can see all the Spanish moss hanging on them. And again, here's the entrance to the trail. You'll find a big fallen tree right by it. Now along the trail, as you can see, there's a little barbed wire fence here. You'll find that the trail runs alongside a ranch. And again, very rarely will you see people out here, but once in a while you see somebody come in. This is just the entrance of the ranch. So this is where you'll probably see people. Over there is a kennel. I've noticed many times, this is the first time I've come up here, where dogs weren't barking at me. No matter how quiet I am, they seem to see me, and they're probably about 200 yards away, I would say, in that kennel over there. But today, no dogs at all. But what I do notice here, it looks like evidence of wild hogs. And if you can see, the ground is all torn up. And this is what the hogs like to do. They like to come in and root and find things that they're looking for to eat. Little truffles and roots and grubs and anything else they can find. So this is what it looks like. You can see the grass next to it nice and smooth, and then when the hogs come in, everything gets real torn up. So this is something that people like to hunt. During the summer, these areas are extremely wet in here. These are all marshy areas. So from probably, in some years, usually from late June, July, August, September, October, November starts drying out. But now it's mid-January, so these areas are pretty dry now because it hasn't rained in a few months. But what you'll find, as you can see here, and I'll zoom in a little bit, here's a stand of cattails. Cattails always grow on water, as we know, but right now there's no water here, so they're all dried out. And you'll see that the cattail down, or the fuzz, is left over. This is great material for starting fires if you need it, good tinder. So it's always good if you know you're going to be starting a fire or needing it, to grab some of this as you're walking along. Here's another area that I've just come upon as I move farther north, where the hogs have been rooting along. And again, you can see the difference between the untouched grass and the grass that's all been overturned by the hogs. Don't be surprised if we don't see them. I'm going to be kind of quiet. In past trips, I've been able to get pretty close to them, within a few feet sometimes. On your way up the Bluff Hammock Trail, you'll come across many hammocks like this. You'll go in and out of very bright sunlit areas where you'll find just grass and things like that. This gives you an idea of what you'll see out here. Right now I just entered a hammock, but looking back from where I came from, you can see that there are some clear areas here where the sun is pretty bright. This is mid-January. It's been a very warm winter. It's about 80 degrees today, and I hate to see what the temperature is going to be in the summer if it's 80 degrees in January. But as you can see, there's open areas, as I said, that interspersed between the hammocks. So right now I'm going to enter this other hammock, and as you can see again, there's a lot of beautiful oak trees inside these hammocks. They're probably hundreds of years old, and just very, very beautiful. Great place to be in the hot summer, because it's very, very cool inside here because of all the shade. I'm just exiting another hammock on the Bluff Hammock Trail in the Boney Marsh area, and you can see a vast prairie out here. We're very close to the Kissimmee River. You can't really see it because of all the brush out there, but the river is probably within about a quarter of a mile to a half mile from me right now. This trail pretty much parallels the Kissimmee River. There are places farther south where you're right on the river, and as we get farther north, we'll be very close to the river too. But you could see how vast this area is, and at times it's just a lot of open prairie. So obviously I prefer the hammocks, but this is the way Florida was made. And here's the trail as we go farther north. Right now we're in a little area here where you can see how high the vegetation is. I don't know what the names of these plants are, but they're not one of my favorites. I have encountered them many times. This is January, so there's very few bugs, which is great. But these plants can still attach themselves to you. They have these little burrs, as you can see right here, and they're like little hitchhikers, you know. When you come through these areas, especially at certain times of the year, I think they're more sticky than others. But no matter how hard you try to avoid them, they will get on your clothes. Now, they do come off fairly easily. You can brush them off with a little effort, and they're not really sharp, but they're just a pain in the neck, and I hate to have them on me. The name of them escapes me right now, but believe me, if you can avoid these, please do so at all costs. Well, we reached the Mosquito hammock campsite. As you can see, here's the old and faded sign, which indicates you've made it here. Let me try to zoom out a little bit here. There we go. Well, you can get a good view of it from there. It doesn't look like there's any water, or it needs to be primed. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. I'm trying to hold the camera here and pump at the same time, so it's like trying to walk and chew bubble gum for me. It's kind of hard. But as you can see, I'm not getting any water. Not to say that I won't if I keep it up, but I think this pump has seen better days. So if you come out here, you want to make sure that you bring water. Alright, I've just left the Mosquito Hammock primitive campsite. You could camp in there, I guess, if you needed to. Today I'm just going to head up to the Avon Park bombing range, and so I'm not going to be camping here. But here's what you'll see too a lot of on this trail. The folks with the Florida Trail Society, they have put in some of these little footbridges here and there. You know, they're about 50 feet long in some places, and they go over really marshy or wet areas. This area is still a little wet. You know, the water does collect in certain areas during the dry time of the year, and some of the areas stay a little moist, but there's no problem getting through here. Now, if you come through here in July or August or September, the water would probably be over this bridge. I've seen it on other bridges that I've walked on, where the water rises at least 6, 7, 8 feet. It's really fascinating to watch. But anyway, here's what you'll see. As I showed you earlier, there were some areas at the beginning of the trail where we saw some cattails. But right now, I've come upon an area, and as you can see, these are some of the dried out cattails. And you can take this fluff from the cattails from last year, and you can use this for tinder, for starting a fire. It works real well. You can even take some of the new cattails when they come back in season, and you can store them, and then when they dry out, you can use them rather than having to go collect them. And as you can see over this little marshy area, which is still wet, as you can see the water down there, there are quite a few cattails here and also behind me. So there's no shortage of tinder. And you can also use the Spanish moss, which is readily available too in areas like this. As you can see, it's just hanging over all the oak trees. Well, we've come up about 5 miles now on the Florida Trail in the Bluff Hammock-Boney Marsh area. And here's the entrance to the Avon Park Air Force Base. There's a stile here, or an A-frame or a ladder, that the base and the Florida Trail personnel have put in to allow you to enter the bombing range. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon here in the middle of January, and we've come up on the stile. This is what you'll see when you hit the entrance on the south side of the Avon Park bombing range. This is other than climbing over the barbed wire, this is the preferred way to get into the base and to continue the trail further north. As you can see, it's pretty easy to get in. You can see a shot of my feet right there as I enter. You just have to make sure you don't lose your balance, but for most people it's pretty easy. And then what they have over here is another kiosk. And the kiosk has information about the Florida Trail as far as closures. As you can see right here, it has all the information about the current week. And it looks like on Saturday and Sunday it's closed from 11:30 a.m. to midnight. So I guess they're going to be doing some bombing. Here's the sign for the Florida Trail, and here's some information right here that you'll find when you come in. So we finally reached the famous stile at the south end of the Avon Park bombing range. One of the things you do here at the kiosk when you come into the Avon Park Air Force Base is they're supposed to have cards in here. I think they're usually pink or yellow. And on these cards, it has a space for your your name, your address, so on and so forth, phone numbers, things like that. And what you do is you drop it in this little box right here. You take half the card, I should say, and you drop it in the box here. And as you travel north, you'll go another, I believe it's 12 miles till you exit the base. And once you exit it, there's another kiosk just like this one up there. And you take the other half of your card and you put it in the bin up there. That way they know that you came in on the south side and you've left on the north side. And of course, it would be the reverse as you come from the north back to the south. So we don't see any cards here today. Usually they're here. This is the first time I've seen it where it was empty. I think there's been quite a few people coming through here because of the cooler, dry weather. But anyway, that's what happens here at the stile. So we're going to take a little break and then head back south. Well, it's getting late in the day, and walked up about 5 miles one way, so we're going to go back about 5 miles. I'm just about to exit, as you can see, over the stile and head back south, so that we'll be leaving the Avon Park bombing range and heading back toward the Bluff Hammock Trailhead where we started originally. As you can see, there's a lot of area here. The sun is pretty bright, but you might be able to see a fire way off in the distance. And as we pan around, what I'll do is I'll go up the stile here. That way you'll have a little better view of some of the sights and what it looks like out here. As you can see, there's quite a bit of land. And the Kissimmee River is to the east, which is the direction I'm pointing the camera right now. However, it's very dry, so I think the river levels are probably very low because you can't even see it. But as I get over the stile here, and see we're walking down back out of the Air Force Base now, you can see that there's a long fence, security fence here with barbed wire. I don't really know the purpose of the fence because obviously people can come in here over the stile and go hiking from one end of the base to the other. You're not allowed to meander around. There's bombing ranges, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, probably hundreds of thousands of acres inside this base. It's huge. And again, it runs alongside the Kissimmee River and Lake Arbuckle as you get farther up. You can see that they do have signs posted, and the fence, I'd say, is probably about 12 feet high. And let me go over to those signs so you can see what they look like. All right, well, here we are. I've walked up to the signs and I'll zoom in so you can get a good look. Basically what it says is warning U.S. Air Force installation, and apparently they have to post that for legal reasons, but to come in and hike, it's permissible, so you have no problems. And again, you can see how far that fence goes. I believe it goes all the way down to the river, so you know, you're not going to probably drive through there with anything. It's all foot traffic only, I'm sure. All right, well, we're going to head back south.